Today I tried to build, well, everything. A little bit of bombs, a sprinkle of shields, some self-damage, some healing. So what happens when you try to build every build in Peglin in the same run? Can a jack of all builds actually beat the game, or is it doomed to fail? We start with a nice shiny apple for some extra health. A solid start since we are now in on Cruciball 11. So the new fancy thing is this purple ball. We have a terror ball, which it must have gotten that name from somewhere. So, is it the worst ball ever invented by any goblin? Or is it just a regular ball like the rest of them? 1, 2. The good news is I can skip every time I see that ball still. Did the Spinventor invent that? Is this after he crashed his bouncy ball into a wall at the speed of sound? Or did he inhale too many slime fumes after all his barbecues and he came up with the purple tiny ball with 1 damage? Not the best invention I've ever seen, and we need to pressure him for something better. But so far things are going well. It is the first level. I kinda expect things to go well and that I don't take an insane amount of damage, because that's going to add up. I think I have less cash. It's more expensive to heal, or I heal less for the same money. Doctor. Pretty strong start. That's just adding a safety layer to a run that is now fairly challenging. I see a slight problem though in that we have the apple, so Doctor might be allergic to that and maybe he will leave me alone to die horribly in this spider web thing. Or is that a hack actually, when we picked up the apple before we picked up Doctor, so he doesn't know I have the apple? Take a moment to rest. They don't really need to rest. But we got ambushed by a strong monster, surprise. How are we ambushed by a slime bag in a tree? That's not the most mobile dude. If that's the level of awareness I have, my life in the Crucible is not gonna be a long one. I'm going to be crucified by my balls in like 3 floors. And we still also have Doctor on the bench, despite having the apple that he's allergic to. But we shouldn't need him here, right? Just a couple of slimes. Up to no good. Making lots of trouble in my forest hood, or however that old banger went. We are on floor 3. I've already walked into a boss. That's pretty bad luck, or good luck if we get some decent loot out of it. There are a lot of slimes on this map though. And what can we do with slimes? We can invent balls that contain slime, or we can maybe slime up one of our 1,000 rocks to make them a bit more interesting. Or even better, we can dissolve the entire terror ball in a slime. What if we combine the terror ball with some slime instead? Would it be a terror slime? Or just a slime ball? Honestly, all fairly useful things. But now we have a second refresh and we go immediately into a second boss. Okay, very spicy start. Generally going for, on higher Crucible levels, going for bosses, especially early on before you really have anything at all. I don't know, I think it's a fairly insane option. But I guess I like to gamble with my life. I should maybe also value my life a little bit more. Doctor, a critical Doctor. Incredible. 44. I mean, that is just a broken ball, right? It's the most, maybe not the most insane ball in the entire Peglin world, but it is up there. Reduce damage taken by 1, echo, or persist. They're all good, but taking less damage is just strong all around, right? Does that include when I throw my head in the flames? Actually, yes. Cool. Let's again say that that was for science. I didn't just go in the flames by accident. I never do. Everything is always intentional. There might have been a lot of bosses in this run, so there will be some speed ups, because it's just a very spicy run, the most spicy run of my career as a Peglin in this forest. We had 3 bosses in 5 floors, and I don't really know if that makes me lucky because I can get many relics, or if it's the game telling me to stay out of the Crucible, or you will be forever crucified by your balls in here and you will never leave. We also ran into this slime bag again, which somehow ambushed me twice, which is incredible for a dude who's just stuck in a tree. His slimy children are kind of beating my head in a little bit. but we have Dr. Orb to compensate for most of that. He's definitely the hero of the run so far. Corn, nice. We have 2 snacks. We're going big balls or go home. It's boss time again. So I'm just banking on that. We will be rewarded for our bravery of fighting all these bosses constantly. Because if we leave this with all the loot in the lands, we will have a very good time in the rest of the game. Do we want Dr. Orb now or later though? We have a crit again. Let's go Dagorb. Let's snipe the eyeballs of that plant. Not enough damage, and he sniped me in the face instead. Okay, counter snipe with the rock and a bomb, so we can rock the other dude. Nice. Some efficiency here at least. And that refresh looks unlikely, but then we can maybe get it with the shield ball. Or do we just go somewhere else? And no, we just go nowhere at all. I did get some shields. We blocked 1 hit. Not sure if that's worth it with that ball still, but I can block 2 hits. That's something. And now, because I was greedy with Dr. Orb, he is too deep in the back. But we are killing these plants, so what kind of plant science can we do? If we combine slimes and a plant, we get a slimy plant. It's not gonna be very interesting, is it? We need something else in there. We need to like melt up a Minotaur into that pile, or maybe a knight or the walled man or something else. Add a magnet, I don't know. A bouncy ball. We can make all kinds of Frankenstein's, Goblinstein's monster. We're just combining, melting down all the goblins in the pot. Not the goblins, maybe goblins as well if we want to go extra insane. Sure, that's the new thing we're doing. Everything we kill, we blend in a pot. And then I jump in myself at the end, and we see what happens. Crit debuffs, that's fun, but we don't have that many crits. Well, let's get it in case we find more crits. And more crits would be nice to deal with all these dudes that are still hunting me down. Every time I walk through these woods, there's a hunting party that wants my satchel of balls and my bald head. Why, I don't know. But if we had more crits, we could stab them harder, and we could then collect these dudes as well, because I don't think we included wooden boys and bats in the pot where we melt everything down to create one big monster thing, which I assume would still end up some kind of slime ball at the end of it all. Tiny amount of blind or more crit damage. Let's just get the more crit damage. We have a shop just after another boss. Like, Jesus, there are so many bosses today. Shungus and Dingus. Okay, so what is the strat here? Probably not get the refresh immediately, but that's what I did. We got some exploitable on the first guy, very nice. Over here are some more pegs. I want to get down into the bomb stack, but then I need to get rid of that part of the map first and still somehow aim a ball down there. I'm not really known for my good aim ship. Or you could just get lucky and get most of the bombs. Cool, very nice. We can maybe make it through the Cruciball after all. All I need to do is 17,000 runs until I eventually blind luck my way through everything. Rocks. Okay, now we need to dig for the refresh, because I assume we will need that, right? Or can we do 200 damage just with the... Did he just shoot me out of his... The dude lying on the floor is not actually fully dead. He's still attacking me. Yeah, that's a new thing. Probably not a new thing, I've never seen it. All I've seen is that the dude that actually reaches me will double slap me sometimes. He's also gyrating quite hard on the floor, preparing another nuke. Thankfully, when we dunk both of them, they stop. Gain more bulwark when we gain bulwark. Sure, let's include bulwark as well. This is the build that, well, right now it has a whole load of nothing, but eventually it might have it all. When we have boiled down all the enemies in a pot, we can also boil down all the builds. We get some bouncy things, we get some bombs, we get that carrot, we get some pollution, whatever else we have. Stick it in one big pot, make the one build to rule them all. A build that has everything in one. That should be absolutely unstoppable, probably. Unless there's some kind of Cruciball 20 mechanic that will still break any build I bring. I wouldn't be surprised. Bats, good. We need more of them for the cooking pot. A nice bat stew at the end of my forest run. Okay, we are getting some pollution from the coins, sure, but is that ever gonna be the number that matters? Just like the shields. I think I used to have a lot of... It's just random stuff. It's not the greatest build of all time. It's the worst build of all time. If you spec into everything, you actually do and know nothing. Who was that guy who knew nothing again? John Goblin? You know nothing? From the hit popular TV show that then deleted itself from the history books with the worst finishing season ever imagined. Kind of a feat, honestly. Very, very special achievement. When am I gonna get that achievement? I used to do the worst build ever and I delete myself from YouTube. Could happen. Probably not yet. I have at least 4 more builds planned. Maybe 5. Leshy. What do we have that deals with Leshy? We need something for the vines. We have nothing for the vines. There are a few bombs that can maybe help. Okay, we nuke the plant. Doctor, we don't need you now. Actually, back to almost full health. I didn't pay attention to when that happened, but that's a luxury I don't see much in the Crucible. Going into a boss with more than like 20 HP. It's my new standard. It's very spicy. Although it's also incredibly good if you have the thing where you always crit below a certain HP amount or you do double damage or that kind of stuff. You can gamble with your health and sometimes win, but mostly die. But if you die, we have already concluded that there is already a pot waiting where I can dunk my corpse into and I can come back as some kind of abomination based on leaf boys, bosses, goblins and bats. And we shall have new powers to do many things. Although mostly what we will be doing is still the same good old throwing balls. Multi-ball. Refresh things. Oh, so what's the combo I go for now? I have a bit of everything. So which relic is going to combo with a bit of everything? Who knows? Realistically, I guess nothing is what combos with a bit of everything. Because I am now spread so thin. I'm like that pancake goblin or the bosses what the round world crushed with a hammer into pancakes. I'm all over the place. We have some corn, some apple, some damage reduction. Now we have multi-ball. We have something with bulwark. We have evolution evasion. We're fighting rock slimes. We have a doctor surrounded by nothing but rocks. That's a great satchel of things to have. It's an odd build anyway. Do you like to go for like a specialized strat or do you like to mix things up and see what happens? Whenever you can find combos, they are always interesting. But this is just all over the place. I just need something that deals damage so I don't get barbecued by these slime dudes again. But this is always the problem with multi-ball, since you get -2 on crit and normal hit. So you always kind of come into this with very, very weak shots unless you have some kind of superpowered build already going on. So we need to somehow make a build out of a random collection of stuff that makes no sense whatsoever. And I'm not a science man, so I'm not really sure how I'm going to make sense of it all. Or do I even have to? Can we just give in to the madness? And can we go for just random shenanigans and kind of see what happens? Because if that works, then theoretically everything should work if you just science it well enough. Can I do that reliably? Probably not. But we can dunk a slime at the very least. Everyone's favorite ghost. Today we need your power. Let's just upgrade a rock, why not? Zombie Haglin, sure, bite me and take one of my rocks, that's a fair deal. We have way too many rocks. Nice, we're getting somewhere with the build. Mirrors, I think we can handle this. So we get the mirror balls, we have quad balls here, that's kind of cool. Way more shields than we need. Plants kind of can't touch me. And rocks are strong against mirrors. And we also got the exploitable thing on him as well. Nice, a billion pieces. Mirror man. But what about Mirror Egg Boy and Mirror the other dude? Do they live in the mirror world with these creeps? Do we need to save them? Do I need to care? They're not me. Snipe the plant, which is always nice to get them with their own medicine. Although these plants have not invented sniper rifles yet, that's a welcome sight. So I can snipe them and they can't touch me. Finally a good solution to my plant problem. Can we find some cool balls out of this? So that's the dream now. We need to upgrade the ball side of the build. The relic part is fine because we did all those 17,000 bosses earlier on. But now we need the pieces that work with all that stuff. Okay, Haglin, sell me everything. Well, take my rock first. Activate nearby pegs, cool. More options, very cool. More cash, probably useful. But more options, and the bombs hitting more things. We don't really have a bomb build, but just being able to pop more pegs means we can hit the refresh and that kind of stuff easier as well. Wall, man, okay, this is where we might not have enough damage to do the thing. We can now clear out the map with the bombs, because we do have a surprising amount of bombs. Is it always this generous on this map? It probably is. I just have no memory of, well, anything most of the time. Dagorb might actually be, well, we should invest more in Dagorb. Clearly carrying this one, even though we have, I'm assuming it's a sharp dagger, but it is in a what looks like a glass ball to me. So how we stab anyone with that, I can't figure out. Maybe a Dagorb is too advanced for my brain cell. Rocks, on the other hand, I understand rocks. Rocks make a lot of sense. You get rock, if it's heavier it's better, if it's too heavy it's a bold orb, then you can just roll it. Either way, big smack, and bad guy not around anymore. Okay, am I just gonna do several 0 damage shots here now and get my face slapped to bits by a wall with a vibrating hand on it. Okay, Spiness. More bombs. Now we're getting the pieces that will do stuff. Spiness is nice. We can roll into dagger with that. We also have the crit debuff thing. Circle as well. Just get the other one so we can do both Circle and crit. Refresh sword, Circle. Both are fine, honestly. Now we have a way to deal with more than one enemy. We could have had the bomb secret. Oh yeah, my thing that gives me a chest in every 4th room or whatever it is. Wall damage and the secret thing. Cool, we're getting... This is the build that has it all. More refreshes, then we can roll out more. I mean, we just supercharged the build in no time at all. That was... How many pickups? 8 or so in just a few quick rooms. Nice. Okay, fear me, knights. I'm back. I'm the Goblin King. The castle is mine. We will nuke you all with bombs or daggers or refresh swords or just buff myself so much that I can snap their necks with my bare goblin hands. We will dodge everything or block it or out heal it. Like, they are just screwed now. There's nothing they can do against the powerhouse of the glory build that has it all. Maybe. I mean, look at those beautiful 0 damage rocks. Although the sword still nuked the healer. Do we need the balls now? Can we go ball less? And can I just hit pegs and refreshes with balls that do nothing? Theoretically possible. Maybe not the most fun approach. Pierce, bomb damage, exploitable. Kinda works with crits. Refresh bombs. I mean, again, many good options. We can see if we can big crit the ballista crew into space. They can be the space crew instead. 3 exploitable is not amazing, but it's a start, right? We can maybe crit up some more debuffs. We still only have 1 crit, and the crit is also a refresh. If we could get the reverse one, we would have 4 crits. That's quick math. We don't really care about the damage. We don't need Dr. yet. Missing the crit. Good job. Good job, me. Just dropping the orb like that. It looks so pathetic. Just hit all those pegs and they did absolutely nothing. Okay, we're getting a circle. Spiness is not really happening because, again, I need to hit 3 crits for that to trigger. And I'm doing some of the best shot work I have ever done. Okay, we got that crit. Cool. And it refreshed, so we nuked the small dudes. We stabbed the ballista very hard. We have a rock that can actually do damage without a crit. It got the crit as well. Okay, we are spooling up. 4 blind on that dude. And 37 evolution on me. We could maybe actually avoid a shot. But if we had damage, we wouldn't need to. That's a theory I always come back to. I think it's from MMO stuff, where like, if you have enough damage, you don't need healing, you barely need a tank. You don't need to care about any mechanics, you just delete whatever you're facing in 2 seconds and everything else is fine. That does apply here as well, but I don't have big enough balls or enough bombs or anything else cool enough to just snap the ballista in with my fingers immediately. But now he is super dead, finally. Look at all those cool buffs I have. Peglin's random balls, squirrels, double damage but self-damage. That could actually work because we have decent healing. We're gonna do that. Wand of Skulltimate Wrath. Slap myself with the wand. Double damage. Yes, we're doing the self-damage build. And we did see the relic but that's for balls. It reduces self-damage from balls by half or whatever. It's not gonna apply to the wand. Well, but there's still this small problem then that double damage, when you do 0 damage, still 0 it turns out. Yep, good build sciencing there. We're on the... I am flip-flopping a bit between opinions here a lot. It was the best build, it's now immediately the worst build again. The only thing I've added is just, now I'm also damaging myself. As far as science goes, that's one of the dumbest decisions Goblinkind has ever managed. And I'm glad the science man has not seen this, because he would disown me. Because apparently he is also the father of the regular Peglin. The lore thickens. I think it's just my brain getting thicker, I can't keep track of it all. There's too many inventions, too many thoughts. It's descending into madness. It's already been a rant or two this episode that has probably... Okay, now we can get more spiness, but we still need more crits. And this triggers crits, so that will actually work with the spiness. Broccoli? Cauliflower. But that doesn't spawn crits on the map for the other balls. So it's not the ball I really want, but it is a ball that works with the crit things. Cool. So immediately we get a dude where we can't really try the new ball because balls don't matter against the angry 3-eyed demon. But you can bramble him in place, that's cool. That was triggered by our crit debuff stuff. He is buffing himself quite a lot though. But we also have multi-ball. So again, the build that has everything should have a chance at dealing with whatever we come across, in theory. So he made it into my face, he did not make it through my shield. Now we have all the crits, some more exploitable stacks that don't really matter on him, but he died anyway, nice. Holy ball, we can now do self-damage stuff. Okay, cool, we're adding the few pieces that the build did not have. We now also have, sadly I skipped the relic, which reduces self-damage from balls, because I didn't have a self-damage ball at the time. I only had this wand of madness where I slap myself in the face. Somehow that triggers me and makes me angry enough that I do double damage in return. Which is cool, because now we're actually doing okay damage. But I still have to shoot one dude at a time here. Right, there are still some flaws. We are missing Pierce or just a million bombs. But the refresh sword maybe can compensate for that. Do we have a... Yes, we have a way to deal with multiple enemies also. Of course we do. Why wouldn't we? We have literally everything else. The dice is also stacking up the random crit things on that. Weather Vein in the back, that doesn't really matter. But we do double damage. We still need to hit 30 pegs before we get damage from the one, so that still honestly seems pretty strong, especially if you have healing or something to negate the damage. Can maybe be useful more often. Even my multi-rock is doing damage now. Some invisible science. Can we win back our science father's disownmentship, whatever you call that, if we do all the science in the game? It's another side quest. Kill everything, melt it down in the pot, but also learn from the things that you combine into stuff. Do all the science, figure out how everything works. In this case, with the invisible men, figure out what they actually are. Nobody knows, especially not me. And then maybe if we become the new scientists, we might get the family back together. And could we then do a run as an entire family? 4 goblins against the world rather than just the one. That might be too powerful. given that we can get all these things stacked on just the one tiny goblin boy. And he's somehow also carrying it all just fine. So many things going on, more loot. Crits from refreshes, perfect. I don't even care what the other things are. Now we have more crits, we can do more crit shenanigans. And we have solved one more part of this equation of a build. So what's going to happen now? More debuffs. That's about it, right? We don't really have anything else that does the crit thing other than that we also do significantly more damage on crits because we also have spin S. Right. There are actually more than one thing comboing. Zero Doctor, cool, very useful. So, do I have anything that reduces my damage other than the multi-ball? No, it's just that it reduces things enough on its own. So we ran into the invisible crew again. I may have skipped a little bit of that because it's getting just incredibly slow at this point. But we nuked them, we have some buffs, we did a thing. We can buy a ghost ball maybe. We get some more loot. More exploitable, bomb refresh, interesting things. Reflect damage, more health. Let's just see how far we can take this crit build. Pumpkin pie, we can hit more map, cool. Haglin, a cookie, we can get rid of the rock, amazing. We can get another crit ball, and this is the one that actually spawns crits, so that will trigger crits for other balls. And we also have 2 more of the other crit ball up there. Refresh, get some aim, sure. Do we want more crit balls? I mean, we already have crits in the build, let's not go too hard into one side of the build. We need to go wide into all the builds. Haglin again. Okay, you can upgrade my new crit ball that you just sold me. Nice. Goblins with bombs. Slap myself with the wand. Do a thing. Get some shields. We can block the wand damage, right? I haven't been paying attention, as usual. Crit ball. Yeah, I don't seem to be taking any damage from it now, so nice. We have sheathed the wand. Covered it in the entire sheath relic. Meaning the build of all builds now has double damage basically for free. That's pretty strong. And it might be what means that I make it out alive of this Cruciball. So what's the verdict on this build? Is it the best build with everything? Is it the worst build because it just spread too thin and does nothing? I'm not sure. There's only a few worms left. We crit the brains out of that guy for like 1800 damage. I think it's a fairly solid build. But it basically just comes down to finding all the loot. Which, because I had so many boss fights, and then that streak of Haglin in the loot boxes is basically what has done this. So I guess gambling is the secret. You gamble hard, you will get not necessarily a build of things that make sense, but you will get a lot of things, and that can be just strong enough on its own. So now the bullet ball, 42 on a crit with multi-ball. Like, that's a fairly insane combo. And it's already like 15,000 damage. Not gonna be anything left of this dude either. We are on to a winner. We know we can get the ball so much higher than... What did I get with the money ball? Like 400. The 40 is really just a tiny amount of the power we can achieve. And we can handle these guys. I mean, we do only have one doctor. But multi-ball with the corn maybe is enough to tank through them. I don't know. They buff kind of fast these days. Cruciball. Spawn some crit pegs so we can get some more. We are lacking still the crit multiplier. That would have been cool with this double crit ball. Bucklord. Are the shields gonna matter? Unlikely. Healing quite a lot, honestly, now. Buffing nicely. There's some shields, there's some pollution, there's some debuffs. It's just everything's happening. And the double damage, 6.5k, not amazing. And I don't think we have really... That's a 39, it's not bad. But we need to stack that way higher. Which means I need to hit 1 million more pegs. Which I can't do because we will kill these square nerds long before we can stack that damage any higher. Either way, it's been a successful run with all the things. It's been fun. It hasn't made any sense to me at any point in this run, which maybe shows. But sometimes that's just the way it goes. You go into a run and you have no idea what's gonna happen. You just pick up some random stuff. This run was all about mixing everything into one chaotic, powerful build. But if you're curious about what happens when you take a more focused approach, you might like this video where I take on Cruciball 10 with a healing build. It's a completely different strategy, but still a fun one. Thank you for watching.